So you may have noticed in the last exercise that sometimes when you're nesting selectors, it can get a little bit confusing. So there is another way to create these menus without nesting all the selectors. And this second method involves using IDs instead. And you can actually name one of the IDs menu and the other one submenu. And it might be a little easier for you to follow. So what we're going to do is copy Acme Vertical. This is not the zipped file or folder, it's the regular one. So we're going to right click and copy. And then I'm going to click to get rid of the highlighting, right click and paste. And we're just going to adjust the name. And you can right click and rename. And we're going to change the name to, and you might want to make sure you get rid of the spaces here, but you want Acme Vertical -ID. You don't want additional spaces in here because that's going to make linking really difficult. So let's double click on that and open it. And we are going to end up modifying our HTML. We're going to have to add 1 or 2 lines of code. But we're going to start with the CSS because there's not a lot of modifications that you need to do to use IDs instead of all the nested selectors. So we're going to right click, open with Visual Studio Code. So this was our code for our vertical menu. And the top part really is not going to change. The changes are going to occur down here when we start getting into nesting. So where we've got nav UL, we're going to change nav to the menu ID. And I'm going to go ahead, copy that. And then where I have nav UL LI, I'm just going to get rid of the UL in the nav and paste menu right in there too. And then for these link states, where I've got nav UL LI, I'm going to replace all that with the menu ID. So you can see this does make it a little bit simpler. You don't have all of this nesting business going on. Okay, so at this point, I've replaced the nested selectors with my IDs. And now I'm just going to double check and look at my code because there are a couple little modifications we're going to need to make to the code. And one of the modifications is to list style type. Okay, we are going to want to move that down to the line because keeping it up here on the list is not going to remove the bullets. So I'm just going to highlight it, kind of drag it down here. And I'll press enter to get all of this aligned nicely. And I'm going to delete that blank line. Now, another adjustment I'm going to make is I'm just going to make all of the margins the same. Okay, and at this point, I believe everything, at least for the main menu, is set up. Okay, those are all the changes you needed for the main menu. And now we're going to scroll down because we need to make a couple adjustments in our submenu. And this is where the nesting really gets kind of out of hand. So for the submenu, we can actually replace the nav UL UL. And we are going to do our little pound for the ID submenu. And we're going to do a submenu on LI. And all we're going to do there, we're going to get rid of the margin, and we're just going to leave the text indent. And then we're going to highlight and copy submenu. And down here, where we've got NAB, UL, UL, LI, all of that business, are going to highlight all of that and paste submenu right over the top. And those are all the changes we need to make to the CSS. So you can see it is a little bit more clean. Okay, we don't have all of the nesting going on, but it is not as specific as the nested selectors. With the nested selectors, you know exactly what's going to change. With your IDs, they're a little bit more generic because conceivably you can apply it to more than one tag or element. So I'm going to save this. And we've got now these IDs set up. So we do need to go into the HTML and add the IDs to the HTML. So we're going to go over here. Let's see if I can find it. We want, nope, not that one. Let's go back to lesson 10. Make sure that you're getting the regular folders. You do not want the ones that are zipped. We're going to open this. And we are going to be editing the CEO, the CFO, COO, executive, and my personal favorite, minions. So we're going to edit all of these, 5. So I'm going to highlight them. And the way I did more than one is I press Control. So I click the first one, press Control, keep my finger on Control while I'm clicking the others. And then when I'm done with the last file, release the Control key. And then I'm going to point to one of the highlighted files, right-click, and we actually want to open these with VS Code, but I don't see that as an option. So if you can right-click and open them with VS Code, awesome. I think I'm going to have to do that individually, which really does not save me a whole lot of time. And I'm going to open all of the ones that I need to change in 2 spots. We have to change for the menu and the submenu in these files. I think I have one more. I still have executive I need to open up. All right, so now I've got all of the pages that have the menu and the submenu. And for the menu, which is my outer unordered list, I'm going to add ID equals menu. Menu should be in double quotes. And then in my submenu, my nested UL, I'm going to say ID equals submenu. And then we all know I'm a lazy typist, so I'm going to highlight this, Control C, and I'm going to go into each one and paste it. So got one done. Now we're moving on to our next one, which is the submenu. So I'm going to highlight this. And we are just going to paste that where the submenu should go. And we're going to save. Let's do a save all because we modified multiple files. And at this point, we can actually open Executive and take a look at it. Come on. So that looks correct. So I'm going to now modify the other 4 files, I believe, that don't have the submenu. And they would be contact, history, home, and mission is going to be the last one. And for these, we only have the main menu. So in the main menu, we're just going to say ID equals, and then in double quotes, we've got menu. And then we are going to highlight that, copy it, and paste it. And I am weird about my indentation, so I'm fixing it. It drives me crazy. All right, and we'll do one more, it looks like. And then let's save all again. And we come back out here and reload. And at this point, all of the buttons should work. Okay, and you are now done with Acme Vertical using IDs.